It's 9 o'clock. Would you please stand and join us with the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. I guess we'll start with some miscellaneous motions. We have several today. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of Monday, February 3rd, 2025 minutes as written?
I so move. I'll second.
Been moved by Huguenin and seconded by Peterson. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Move to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the letters to the cities regarding first half distribution of 2025 infrastructure grant funds.
I so move. I'll second.
Been moved by Huguenin and seconded by McCurry.
These are all identical to previous years.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
I don't recall seeing
Okay.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Move to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the letters to cities regarding first half distribution of 2025 Park and Rec grant funds.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Been moved by McCurry and seconded by Peterson. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Move to authorize and direct the chairman to sign one tax abatement in the amount of $1,525.84. Looks like they had a vehicle that wasn't classified correctly, is what it looked like to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll move.
Second.
Been moved by Thompson and seconded by Huguenin. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Move to rescind paragraph 15 in the February 3rd, 2025 minutes. McCurry moved to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the CP2 payroll notice for Tremaine Boyle New Hire Jail Corrections 2, classification 30-2, wage $20.11, effective 1/27/25. Huguenin seconded. Motion carried. It appears that it should have been corrections 1 because we've got another motion a new motion. So it looks like it's just a correction.
And I'll move. Second.
Then moved by McCurry and seconded by Huguenin. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Motion to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the CP2 payroll notice for Tremaine Boyle New Hire Jail Corrections 1, classification 30-2, wage $20.11, effective 1/27/25.
I move. I'll second that.
Been moved by Huguenin and seconded by McCurry. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Motion to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the CP2 payroll notice for Brent Turner, new hire, recycling, light equipment operator, classification 30-1, wage $19.73, effective 2/11/25.
I'll move.
I'll second that. Been moved by McCurry and seconded by Thompson. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Upon the recommendation of the Emergency Management Director and approval of the County Attorney as to form, move to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the land lease agreement between the City of Levo and Coffee County Board of Commissioners for the lease of a 75-foot by 75-foot tract of land located at 556 Old Highway 50, Levo, Kansas, for the lease price of $100 annually to be the site for construction of one of the 3 radio communication towers. Funds to come from the Emergency Management Radio Maintenance Fund.
I move. I'll second that. I wonder,
It's moved and second. Is there any further discussion?
it's $100 a year annually, but it should, I mean, I'm sure the waiters read that. I wonder how long that's, I mean, is that,
Well, I guess
I
it's
mean,
only $100 a year,
Yeah.
but I question why we have to pay rent for something that's gonna benefit their community by having better radio service, but that's just my thought.
that's true.
You know, trying to, but, you know, maybe there should be a dollar figure, and $100 is very minimal,
Yeah.
so I shouldn't be complaining, but,
Not even $8 a month.
yeah.
Who moved? Did I move that?
You're gonna
You
move
seconded.
to
Second,
second,
okay, fine.
Yeah.
so you guys have not.
We can table it and talk to Mr. Bowie if you want. No, I'm good, I'm good.
I'm good with it.
I'm
I
good
shouldn't
with it,
even
Tom. I
have
just-
said that, I just, you know,
I guess my question was, is that for, 100 years or 50 years or,
well,
I
we
guess
can
that's-
table it for now if you want to, we can come back to it later.
yeah, why don't we?
Okay, let's
I don't
table
think it's,
that.
I don't mean to make it a big, it's not that big.
Well,
a deal,
he'll be here later today. so
It's
we-
a good question,
But,
Yeah, we can, that's right,
I
yeah.
didn't even think about it.
Move upon the recommendation of Brad Scheidmeier, IT Director, to waive the purchasing policy as to competitive bidding for Microsoft Office Government Community Cloud Plan. Said cause is set government pricing and previous working relation and to approve the purchase of a 1-year Microsoft Office subscription from Central Computer Distribution in the amount of $42,400. The funding for the purchase will come from the 2025 Technology, Training, and Equipment line item. So apparently, this is something we need, I guess. So I guess I should save my discussion.
Well, he's supposed to be in at 9:15, right?
I'll just,
Yes.
yeah. Well, we can wait to do that then.
You would.
Yeah.
If he wants to.
Sure. Okay. So I guess we'll go back to the agenda. River City Construction, weekly update, jail construction.
morning.
Morning.
Run through some big ticket items. We are we're painting up on level 2, got door frames painted. I believe, sorry, I'm doing a little bit of catch up myself after being gone. We should be getting some doors around that, but we'll hold on to until we get flooring in. Be one of the last things to try to avoid some damage to those wood doors. But they are painting up there. They've started ceiling grid, or the wall mold for the ceiling grid. As we finish up pulling the final electrical wire up there, then we'll get the ceiling grid rolling. The ceiling tiles are up there, so as soon as we get everything ready, they're gonna start dropping tile, and they'll be installing flooring after that. We've got ceramic tile in the bathrooms, some of the wall tile, or a majority of the wall tile up as well. Be finishing that up shortly. They're working on the security ceilings in the booking area and holding cells. They're also swinging the security doors. They've been rolling in. I think they got 3 pallets of them. He said they should have them swinging pretty shortly in the next few days as far as those doors go. Again, working on low voltage in booking and intake, finishing up rough end on level 1, and they're hanging sheetrock level 1. And everybody's kind of working their way from the ceiling on down. Paint has started in multiple areas. Getting coatings on the wall, a little bit everywhere as things free up, block fill and paint ongoing. That's the big ticket items. Working our way down from level 2 on to level 1.
Very good.
Any questions?
It's taking shape.
Have you all been over to see it?
Not recently. Yeah.
I know it's probably changed a lot from the time we were there.
I was trying to think when it's been, but level 2, got first coat of paint on it, and no a little bit of sheet rock in the sheriff's office, but mainly starting today, they'll have a lot of it, sheet rock, and start to look like a building. The elevators also install is ongoing. They were setting wall panels for the elevator, the south elevator, when I walked over this morning. So they're on site. A couple more weeks and we should have both elevators in.
Everything appears to be on schedule, like, or ahead of schedule, or?
Yes, tracking, we'd like to started the exterior a little earlier with the weather, that pushed us, but should,
Yeah.
barring good weather, the remainder of the duration, we should be in good shape to get it all poured out and ready to move. The job trailer and the connexes, I believe the date is that first week of March, getting them out and starting to tear out all that curb and everything over there as well, sidewalks. The exterior is gonna start changing again around that March 1st date.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
One thing, I didn't know if the sheriff was gonna show up, but we've been having a discussion behind the scenes about the concrete at the horseshoe and then to the south of the building. Cole wasn't even here for this conversation. Whether that was gonna be separately bid, or whether it was the board wanted it included as part of the project. It's not technically considered a part of the original scope, but for the renovation, it wouldn't likely be done now anyways. So just out the west doors, and then if you remember, right outside the current Sally Port water pools up, then it's an issue there where that needs to be addressed. Why it's being brought up now is Tom probably knows better than I do, if they're gonna come in and replace, for example, the concrete right outside the west side of the building up to where this horseshoe concrete is, if you're gonna fix it later, then you'll have to have a crew come in, go over what was just replaced, and potentially, I don't know, I hope not damage it, but I don't know what that type of equipment, what that
Possibility
looks
always
like.
lays there.
So that's sort of been the ongoing conversation behind the scenes, and I think it's a decision that needs to be made sooner rather than later, what you want to do, if you want to try to see it included as part of the phase 2 renovation, or if you want it separately bid out, because if it's going to be bid out, it needs to be done. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should, it'd be the time to fix it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's showing, am I correct, it's showing its age?
Yeah,
My recollection
you're
of it.
prolonging the inevitable if you don't replace it, so now is the time to replace it. Like Wade stated, you know, pour all the other concrete out ahead of that, and
Yeah, back over with concrete
then
truck.
order jackhammers and equipment.
Yeah.
It's better to do it now.
Yeah, I would think it'd be better to do it now and not rebid it, just
But the main question is, do you wanna send it out, that part out for bid, or do you wanna add it to basically their contract?
What do we need to do on that, Wade?
Well, I mean, that's been the ongoing debate behind the scenes between River City and myself and the sheriff. It wasn't originally technically part of the scope, but my opinion is because it's and it's, I think, indirectly a part of the renovation itself, especially the concrete right outside the Sally Port. Maybe one could argue that the concrete in the horseshoe is right outside the west doors is not, but in phase 2, that entire side from the west doors to the west is being remodeled and redone, so.
would that be done in phase 2 then, Wade? Is that,
Or would we need to do it before we finish that?
So the timing is what matters, I think, because right now, Concrete Unlimited, who's a part of the project, they are scheduled at least sometime when it starts warming up.
March 1st is
Is that
the
what the-
grading.
is that the ones that's going to do once you remove.
Yes, they'll do curb and gutter, and then there is some concrete, roughly from the corner of the building back into, in between the buildings. And that would be the section we would have to drive over essentially. So,
And they would be the ones, if it was decided to do it that way, they would be the ones that would do that project, if.
correct, unless you all would like to bid it out. And, I mean, then it would be in your hands rather than ours, but, I mean, we would coordinate timing-wise as needed.
I guess for simplicity, I'd like to go ahead and just have it taken care of the way it is.
How do we go
But how-
about determining a price on something like that then? Without a bid, I'm just asking, I'm not.
No, I think there's an anticipated or a price that's been provided, but it hasn't been provided here because it may matter on which direction you wanna go. So if it's gonna be a part of the existing project, it would likely be a change order, right?
And I think the conversation, well, I don't know if there's been any more conversations, so I'll let you add on to that if there is any.
It's gone back and forth on whose responsibility, where it should come from and that type of thing. At the end of the day, the goal isn't to spend the entire amount that was allocated for this particular project, both in phase 1 and phase 2, but certain items and things should come up and show up. And I think I don't have the ability to make the decision for you. This is one of those items that you feel should come from that original $30 million. They're gonna come in and say, well, what if we need X, Y, and Z during the project, something, they have the contingency fund that is a part of the project for unforeseen things that need to be addressed. For example, the Sally Port change early on was outside the scope of the original design, but it had to be done because otherwise there's gonna be an issue moving into the future. So that one was done, and that one was, an $80,000 change order that had to be done. So the more change orders, the more you eat through that contingency. That's what it's there for. I don't know what the contingency budget is anticipated to be in phase 2. I don't know how much is gonna be left from phase 1. If phase 1 has contingency left, my assumption is that we'll roll into phase 2. The other open and outstanding conversation that will have to occur at some point in time is, the perimeter drive around the jail, which is half county property, half school property. And I think there's pins out there, and I can't remember which one or which way, but that drive will potentially have to be addressed. There's $20,000 or $25,000 in a post-construction repair fund. I forgot what it's called.
I don't remember the amount, but there was an allowance for patching as needed. We knew driving off the edge of it, there was gonna be some, but.
And that's on that street between the school and the property?
Yeah.
The conversation at that point was where it's knocked off the edge, is it worth cutting a 2-foot strip and pouring 2 foot in, and eventually it's fluffing off, or replacement at that point?
So then the question will be, do you take that $20,000 or $25,000, then River City will give it back to the county for the county to decide and allocate how the county wants to use it? But is it better for the immediate or long term to put a patch on it, knowing that road, that perimeter road, with how much it's utilized and driven on, will need to be replaced at some point in time? And I'm not a road person, I'm not a civil engineer, I don't know what the integrity of that road looks like, but my assumption would be, with all the equipment and use that it's had, the county may want to consider if there's $25,000 to pump into it,
Yeah.
And the thinking behind it was when we have them out paving, you could potentially have a lower cost. You're not having an extra mobilization cost or however, to have somebody come in and do it later was part of the conversation.
Well, and I guess.
You're talking on the, I'm sorry, I didn't,
No, go ahead, Steve.
you're talking on the road or this project? what-
We have asphalt, and if they were doing asphalt while they're here, or if we added that road, they could do it all at the same
All at
time
the same time.
and potentially eliminate a second mobilization cost or, I mean, not that it's a lot, but
Sure.
with asphalt, typically, a lot of your cost is mobilization.
So if you're doing just the minimum, that'll be at the end of the project, probably, won't
We
it?
would probably do, I mean, asphalt in general will be at the end or close to the
Okay.
end, but we would do it all while they're here.
Well, that was my only thought, was that maybe we'd have a better idea of what our fund looked like by then.
Right.
You
We're
know, to
looking,
make a decision, and I don't,
I think we're on the schedule currently with the asphalt plant, April timeframe right now, about when they open up, shortly after they open back up for the season. And it's weather dependent, but as close to the end as possible.
okay.
The road would need to be something, in my opinion, going around the perimeter of the facility separately bid. I mean, that's more of a monumental
Yeah.
change and actually tied to the next layer out. But the concrete is probably the more pressing one because it's,
Right.
for lack of better wording, attached to, adjacent to the immediate
And
side of the building.
the fact that that didn't work, yeah.
Do you have any kind of approximate cost on something like that? I mean,
I do, but for the lack of, so that I'm not giving
Okay.
somebody a competitive advantage in case it needs
you
to go out
said
for
that
bid.
too.
I want to be careful.
Yeah, let's-
So you don't need to make a decision right now, but I want you
Yeah.
to think about it, and a decision will need to be made very, sooner rather than later.
or
Then we
kind
can
of-
talk about it more.
If it were decided just to stay the status quo like we are now, then when would that project be done? When,
I think then we'd have to get River City and, I know you're here, but it may be a Warren
Right.
conversation to talk about, well, you know, what's gonna happen is this may eat through the contingency, and if it eats through the contingency, then we don't have enough money at the end, and that's gonna be, and that was the same conversation that occurred with the change to the salary board. And
Yeah.
the contingency's there for things that we knew about at the time, and my opinion has been, well, it's still taxpayer money and it can be spent now, and I guess if it ends up being an issue at the back end, then it will have to be addressed, but
And potentially into that conversation, which when they're here, Concord Unlimited did great work. They were fast and efficient, but potentially what duration would that add? I'm not saying it's gonna, I don't know what it would be,
Sure.
but potentially we're adding another week on a potential conversation. I don't know what the effect would be.
Messing up their schedule.
Right. I mean, that is a pretty good portion of
It
concrete.
usually does, yeah.
Right. And they're mainly, most of the parking lots are asphalt, so they're doing curb and gutter ahead of the asphalt. But what it would do for future conversations. Potentially.
I'd ask you, let it marinate for a week, and next week have a
Yeah, if we need to put it on the agenda or however.
direction one way or another, because if it needs to be bid out, it's gotta be bid out probably no later than next week.
Well, I guess I'm kind of getting a
Sooner.
positive vibe from everybody here, I guess, my thought.
But I'm deciding next week or deciding right now?
No, that's just, well, I don't know, we have to
I
decide
mean,
right
it
now.
needs to be done.
Well, we can talk about it at the end of this meeting here too, so.
we can.
Yeah.
I think you'll need to have
10:30, 11 o'clock.
some of the River City people here to talk. I think Warren will probably wanna chime in and give his.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And essentially, I mean, we both know the stance on where it was. but yes.
And I think the sheriff sheriff and I agree on the majority of things, but I'm not sure we agree on this one.
I don't believe so.
So I think he'll want to have his say as well. So,
I don't mean to either. Much time.
no, this needed to happen, and
Agreed. And like I said, the plan is, I think the date is to start kind of final grading and starting that curb and gutter is at March 1st date, getting everything out of the way. The plan is, or was, working from the south, kind of coming around the building. So it potentially has a week or so before we get in this area, but that was a conversation before I was gone. But no, but if we need to put it on the agenda or however, we can get appropriate people and have a conversation on it.
That'd be good, wouldn't you guys?
All have a conversation and bring us in later, however.
Okay, that sounds good.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you all. Let us know if you
Okay.
want to come over.
Thanks for
sometime.
the update.
Thank you.
So what do we want to do next? Do we want to,
Well, these hospital board appointments, probably could wait till at the end, we can start with that phone system.
yeah,
Is my suggestion.
that was what I was wondering, because we've got people here for our
Right.
next two appointments, looks like,
Right.
so we'll put that on hold, and, phone system RFP.
Okay. I believe you guys should have a copy of this, hopefully. Send to Angie.
Yeah,
It's on your, right here.
yeah, okay.
Might not be able to read them.
Oh, this is ringing 4-point.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
That's not your fault.
Last week I told you I had narrowed it down to 4, and these are the 4. Needed to go back and ask some questions on, additional taxes. Because a lot of them had extra taxes included. We can't get away from some of the tax, we can get away from sales tax, but there's a universal service fund, federal government taxes us for phone lines,
I
and
see.
we still have to pay them. So that raised the price on a couple of them. One of them said that's included in our price. Yeah. You guys share this one. This is.
I can see that.
You can see yours.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah. Okay. So that leaves me 2 choices, I think. This top one, which is Spectrum, or our local guys. MT Networks. That would be my 2 choices. I'm going to let you guys decide that. MT Networks is what we've worked with for 10 years for phone system, 15 years for our internet. Yeah. Most of their monthly cost is our current phone bill. But as you can see, it's one of the more expensive ones there.
Yeah.
So we give them a 5% discount if they're local. Yeah, that's part of the bid process. If they're within 5%, we can.
That's what I was gonna ask Wade, what our maximum was that we can do on that if we chose to.
which the
Well-
5,
Is 5%, because I made the comment last week that I thought it was 10, but that's not correct.
You
I
said
don't think.
Spectrum or MT?
Spectrum or MT, the top one or
MT is lower.
Yeah. If you look at the final cost
Oh,
after 5 years.
well, yeah.
That's what, 17 or 18% difference?
Yes. Yeah, I would be more than happy to work with MT Networks.
Sure.
And you guys talked about providing stuff for local companies, or working with local companies.
I just don't know if that's within our doing the right thing, is it, guys? I don't know what you're supposed to do in a case like that.
There's a lot of difference.
That is, you know, I wish it was closer, obviously.
Is there any differences between the two systems?
They'll both be a great improvement of what we have. The Spectrum is, they price it where you get everything more than you need. If I was gonna pick between the other three, the other two that I didn't want in Spectrum, I'd pick Spectrum. Their system seems to be better. The MT will be here to help us, you know.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Spectrum is out of Texas. As far as what different things they can provide, I would say Spectrum will provide us more than MT can. They're
Like for the future or something?
not necessarily the future, but they have a mobile app. I don't know, it's not something we need. I could download Spectrum, I don't know if you guys have this or not, I didn't ask. I could download the Spectrum app on my phone, put my password in, I'll have a phone with me that says I'm calling from the county anywhere. So it'll show up as a county phone number, and that number will follow me wherever I go if I log into an app. There's things like that stuff we don't
Personally,
need.
I hate apps.
Were you able to look at any Spectrum systems in the
I-
area? Or?
I went up to Topeka and met with their sales rep. The company is trying to sell us this is from Topeka. Spectrum's out of Texas. I met with their sales rep there, and it was impressive.
I want to work with the locals, but I just think that's too much
Okay.
difference.
All right.
I mean, that's
That's why
Their
I gave
monthly
you two
cost
choices.
and their
It's an
yearly
upfront cost.
but yeah, the upright cost is the only thing for after 5 years, but.
Yeah.
If
Basically,
you
from
spread that out
Spectrum.
over 5 years
Yeah.
then, that $18,000.
I totaled everything. Their monthly cost times 60 plus.
You see what I'm saying, guys? The difference is you're spreading that out over
Yeah.
5 years. The monthly and the annual cost is still the lowest. MT is the lowest bidder. So the total cost after 5 years, you're spreading it over.
I see what you're saying, Tom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm all for staying local.
What about beyond the 5 years?
We rebid it, and see who,
I mean, are those costs good just
they're good for the 5 years.
5 years and then you have to re? Because I didn't know if that annual cost, if it
The annual cost,
could go beyond the 5 years. It would make a difference in the next 5 years if it stayed the same.
basically we're renting phones if we go with Spectrum. So that's part of the cost. If there's a new generation of phones, we'll get new phones.
So at the end of the 5 years,
Our last
They're still
phones lasted us 20 years.
but at the end of 5 years, are we done paying? I mean, I'm not sure how this works.
We'll continue to pay the monthly.
So the monthly would be
The monthly stays.
stays.
Okay, well, if you
Okay.
compare it that way, then it's cheaper in one way. I think
Okay,
I-
that monthly
Based on
is
how you
good
figure
for
it.
5 years? Is that what we're saying?
The monthly is basically the whole cost for the Spectrum. That's good for 5 years. The monthly for what MT Network does is charges, with this new system, $37 for our 7 locations. I think it's $37.50. Plus our current phone bill, because they currently own or have our phone contract. We pay them for our phone numbers. So that monthly cost is basically our phone bill.
I see.
Okay.
Those numbers get ported to the new company if we go with a new company. So, and we'll get rid of the $2,000 a month, not get rid of it, it'll just transfer to somebody else. That, what is the total price for MT monthly? Is,
48.
Less than the other one.
yeah, monthly cost $28.48. Yeah,
So what about,
So
is it $300 less
yes.
monthly?
So at the end of 5 years, that's what will be rebid then?
Yes.
And at the end of 5 years, that system will be paid for, but all we'll incur then is a monthly charge for
Just
the
you pay monthly charges. And same with the Century Business, you know, it's, you know, we would ask them, all right, what's it going forward? And we either accept it or go through the bid process again. Okay.
What exactly is the upfront cost?
Which one? Century?
Oh, either, any of them.
Upfront cost, MT Networks was purchasing phones, the very first.
Okay. From MT Networks,
Yes. Upfront cost.
46.5.
Do I have that one? Upfront cost. Yeah, I didn't get it on this one. It's $95 there.
95 for the Spectrum.
Yeah, it's Spectrum. They said it's paperwork fee.
So the ones where you pay for the phones up front, at the end of the 5 years, if it goes out to be rebid, it could be rebid with those phones staying with the county. Does that make sense? That,
That's what I was trying to get straight in my head.
So is
Say that again, Wade.
That's part of the difference in the bid here is that the MT's got the bigger upfront cost.
if we can buy the phones up
We're
front,
buying the phones up front.
it's like if you,
Basically, the
And so on Spectrum,
Little-
on Spectrum,
Spectrum is renting his phones.
Okay.
They will bring his phones, bring all the phones we need.
So at the end of 5 years, then, we would own the phones.
We
Or
own the
beginning,
phones as soon as I write that check.
So it's not really, in a way, they're not quite bid apples to apples.
It's impossible to get it now.
I mean, that's more than the difference,
That's,
way
yeah.
more than the difference we're looking at in the total cost here,
Yes.
you know.
at the end of 5 years, if you send it out for bid and the county owns the phones after 5 years, can those phones that are purchased be utilized on a
Yes.
new system? Okay.
Yeah, if in 5 years we don't like what we got, we bid it again.
so
we
the
still
upfront
use those
cost
phones.
is on MT, we're buying the phones, we're not renting, we're buying the phones.
We're buying the phones. Yes.
That's different in my mind.
Yeah, that means
I'm
me
more
too.
inclined to go that way, I guess is my thought.
So the upfront for MT, the 46,580, if you're comparing that with Spectrum and you subtract $95, which is the upfront cost for MT, and then subtract that from the totals, is that more of a comparison?
Well, that's what I was trying to insinuate, that if you take that off, I mean, yeah, what are they worth at the end of 5 years? But yet, they're cheaper than if you look at it that way. If, whatever value those phones have at the end of the 5 years, you own them then.
Yeah, you're on.
So, am I looking at it wrong, guys?
And this last system lasted for how, I mean,
The phones are 20 years old, that's why I'm willing to.
That'd be
Yeah,
my preference.
I can't guarantee that, you know, you don't know that on anything, but, you know.
Well, even if you get at least 6 or 7 years out of the phones, since you own it, I mean, then we'd be money ahead after that.
Right,
We
and
could be-
we're doing
Whereas
business.
you'd be renting monthly on the other ones.
And the monthly ones, if you're, you know, in 5 years, say, they go through, if we don't like the phones, or we have phones going, they bring us a different style of phone or something. Yeah, it's a rental, yeah, if you don't like it, trade it in, get another one.
Do the phones that you purchase, do they have a period of time where they do periodic updates for a period of time?
They have. Did you answer that one? Yeah.
Yeah, they do software.
Okay. I was sure they did.
Say that again.
They do software updates.
The phones update themselves.
Oh, okay. And no cost, I mean, that's not a
Yeah,
cost.
they're
That's part of
okay.
the.
That's just part of the thing.
My cell phone does it when I don't want it.
Mine too, mine too.
In the spirit of transparency, what I'd ask you to do, I know the board has the numbers, but you had 5 who bid their names and then what their costs were.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's,
The big sheet had 17 people on it, 17.
oh, well,
But these are the
Not
ones you
17,
narrow it down to.
Those are the ones I narrowed it down to.
I didn't have that.
There's, the reason behind narrowing this down is part of it was, we don't have this one, that is the company, location, phone model, and interaction with. I gave them a 1 through 10. Put out a bid, it's pretty generic. I want them to call me
Yeah.
and get information from me because,
Well, you chose the most viable ones, so
Yeah.
I think those might be, my
Yeah.
opinion would be the ones we'd have to read, but that's whatever the board thinks.
I had a couple companies just, email me a bid, never called me, never did anything. I want somebody to
Yeah.
talk to.
Sure.
I had one company that called me 2 or 3 times asking if they could send 8 bids.
And these 4 bids were the ones that you felt
I don't want 8 bids, I want 1 bid from you, I want your best company. And these were the 4 bids I felt were
that
the
you
best.
felt.
Okay.
These
So
are
is
people
that
that talked
okay,
to me, I worked with.
I'll put it this way, I do business with some people, suppliers that are a little higher than their competitors, but I know that I can trust that material. I can trust that if something goes south, that company will be there to take care of it for me.
Right.
I wouldn't say I would trust any of these, would not, I don't want to go Singapore, I wouldn't trust somebody to
Right.
Right.
do it.
No, that's not what I'm saying
Okay.
here, but I know that you said we worked with MT for over a decade here,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
your confidence level on them and your trust on them is great.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm all for local. We've already really invested a fair amount of money with MT on getting, fiber going
And that monthly cost,
dishes and all like this, so.
they said they would work on us, we have 80-some phone numbers. We need to go take a look at that, and that would lower some monthly cost. But I don't know that until.
So the company,
Down
if
the
that
road.
would choose would do that, they would work with you on doing that and everything.
Yes.
We will. I'll commit to that.
Yep, okay.
So are we okay with the information we have?
Yeah, do you feel we need to read all the bids or just these 4, Wade? Because a lot of the others didn't meet the criteria of what we wanted, is the way I understand it.
And that's what I understood.
Yeah.
I mean, Brad sifted around to narrow it down to 4,
Right.
and then from those 4, he has 2
That,
he would,
Right,
Feel comfortable
that
with.
describes it well.
And I he's done his homework right too, so.
Yeah.
yeah, after the
Much more than we
further
figured out.
discussion and based on the monthly cost, knowing that we would own our phones,
yeah, I'd be more inclined to go with,
I mean, I would offer a motion if you think it's okay.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to read the bid amounts first or afterwards, or,
Do you need to read those bid amounts, or I don't know.
They're available, I mean. if
They're available, I'm gonna send this to people that bid.
okay. I mean, are you okay with that, Wade?
I'm sorry, I missed.
That the bids are available if somebody's
Yeah.
concerned about them, they can check
People
it
that have
out.
contacted me, I'll send that bid sheet to them.
Yeah, they have to be.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out, I mean, for transparency purposes, the 4 that you brought up today, I'm just thinking about people on the outside Or
You want me
That's
to,
my
you want me to
concern.
name them and give a final price?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that needs to be done.
That's what I was trying to,
Okay.
what we need to do here.
We'll start with, it's Century Business Systems out of Topeka. Their phone system is Spectrum Phone System out of Plano, Texas. Total cost, $95 upfront cost, monthly cost of $3,106.29. Total cost after 5 years, $186,742.
472.
470.
$472 and 40 cents.
Yeah.
Next one was Verge.
And that was leasing the phones.
That was leasing the funds. All these will be, yes, yeah. Verge Networks out of Oklahoma City. I talked to them. They have the phone system down here at the bank, Central National Bank. I talked to them. They had good things to say about it too. So yeah, I talked with a lot of all these people. Upfront cost would be purchasing phones. It's $48,841.20. But they had the asterisk, additional cost for taxes. I asked for an estimate, they said it's about $200 a month. So that increased their cost significantly, put them up to $191,286.40. MT Networks, local, they're here. Upfront cost, purchasing the phones, $46,580. Annual cost, or monthly cost, sorry, of $2,848.50, for a total final cost at 5 years is $219,761. Windstream, they're out of Little Rock, Arkansas. They had taxes, the upfront cost $1,762 plus added taxes. I didn't get a reply from them on an estimate on taxes. So, and monthly cost is $3,254.32. Total 5-year cost is $197,021.20. I had one company, let me look at it. I took a picture of it, and that's what I was like. See what's on here. Yeah. Pricing above it excludes fees. It says $618 monthly for fees and taxes. On one of the bids. One of the bids I rejected earlier
Okay.
said their taxes could be up to $600. So that's, yeah,
How many phones are we talking about?
200 phones. And probably 50, 80 phone numbers. 80, what did I say, 80 before? That includes all phones, new phones. We put enough in for the sheriff's office.
200 phones, 260 numbers.
Well, we got one phone number rings here, and we've
Oh.
got 5 phones.
Okay. I was like,
Yeah.
Wasn't that in for?
Well, no, that doesn't add up at all.
It's math that wouldn't work for me.
And MT's right here. I'll give you that.
Okay, so
Chairman, you ready for a motion?
I think Casey's got one typed there. Yeah. Motion to, go ahead.
I would move to accept the bid from MT Networks as the best bid with an upfront cost of $46,580 and then a total cost of $219,761 over 5 years. And that, this could also be under the
and an estimated monthly cost of $2,848.50.
We need, and I will pay for the upfront cost out of technology reserve.
And that's for 200 phones.
Yes.
I'd second that motion.
It's been moved by Peterson and seconded by McCurry. Is there any further discussion?
That time, work good.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. All right. Okay,
I'm waiting for you to chime in.
yeah.
So we,
You said technology reserve?
Technology reserve fund.
I saw your wheels are spinning, I didn't even say yay.
Yeah. I saw him spinning too.
My wheels are always
so
spinning.
we, go ahead.
My wheels are always spinning, that's what.
Okay, all right, and I
I see it, I guess.
Okay. So we had a question for Brad, didn't we, about
The other motion.
the IT?
Oh.
Or about, the Microsoft or?
Microsoft
or did we
Office.
just table it till he came in?
yeah.
Is there anything to know on that, or is it just
It's,
straightforward?
it's an annual fee. Microsoft is now subscription based. Every year, I'm gonna get that bid. That bill,
Okay,
All right.
okay. So,
unfortunately. You know, I used to be able to buy, and it'd last for 5 or 6 years.
And now it's a yearly thing.
Now it's a yearly thing.
okay.
Yeah.
Motion upon the recommendation of Brad Scheidmar, IT Director, to waive the purchasing policy as to competitive bidding for Microsoft Office Government Community Cloud Plan. Said cause is set government pricing and previous working relation, and to approve the purchase of one-year Microsoft Office subscription from Central Computer Distribution in the amount of $42,400. The funding for the purchase will come from the 2025 Technology Training and Equipment line item.
That's a move.
I'll second.
Been moved by Huguenin and seconded by McCurry. Any further discussion?
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Appreciate
Motion
it.
See you guys, thank you.
Thank you.
I wouldn't mind taking a 10-minute break if we could.
That's fine.
Good. So it will come back at 10:02.
Hey, this morning, Craig.
Pretty good, how are you guys?
I was,
Didn't come on.
Switched it.
We're back in session. I just botched up my. There, okay.
Should be right. That's the lease agreement. Right here.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. All right, Government Assistance Services, Garrett Nordstrom, amendment to the SSM Road Project.
Morning, Garrett.
Hey, good morning, Phil. You have before you our agreement amendment that the Department of Commerce returned to us in January. Basically, it just needs signature from the chairman to formally amend the contract. We did so in November when we submitted to them a contract budget amendment, sort of how we were going to extend the road and ask them to extend or exceed or add to our budget a bit so that we could maximize the grant money. They sent the contract back, we just need to sign it and send it back to them. As part of that,
You did get that extra as approved.
that's the previous one.
we did, they did approve it.
Okay, good, yeah, okay. Are you gonna bid that,
So
or just add to the contract?
we discussed that we would competitively bid the second part of that, that would be Optimus County.
Yeah.
Okay,
And we understood that this agreement was a given that we were going to get it, so we set CFS onto the design specifications for the road so that we'd be ready to go in the spring. We have awarded the first part of it, though, the one that we put out.
And that was to Kilo.
Yeah, out of Ottawa. And so the other action is that as part of that budget amendment, we moved the administration line from what we had was the CDBG side there, and amended that contract a bit, and so that is before you too.
So the only one that he needs to sign is this one sheet, right?
Yes, and the contract with our firm, which is the one before you too.
This one?
Yep.
Okay, we're not seeing that, oh wait, here,
That's
that
it.
page, okay,
Yep.
just that page.
So do we need
Getting
a
it
motion
ready
to
for
do
you,
that?
yeah, hold on just a second.
I'd just say, for those watching at home where they're trying to keep track of what's happening here, this was a little while ago, the original CDBG, and you correct me if I'm wrong, was for funds in the amount of $750,000 for the immediate access road for the, from the airport up to the property at SSM.
That's
And
correct.
when the bids came in, they were lower than what was anticipated, and there'll be a pool of that $750,000, I don't remember how much, that will still be available, and if the county will match or make up the difference between that and the next, I guess up to $375,000, then the road going to the north of the SSM property up to, what road is that? 20th will be paid for by county funds and the remainder of that $750,000 that was not, that's left over. So in essence, the county is only paying for half of that road, and then the remaining CDBG funds are paying for the rest. Is the best way I can
I'd say all that's accurate.
Right.
And that's what originally why there was a change in the request to make a change, because otherwise that the remainder of the $750,000 would have to go back to the state.
And that'll run up to the 20th road where it's an easier access to get into off the highway.
That and future expansion.
Right,
And
right.
on it both,
So I guess we have a motion to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the First Amendment to the Small Cities CDBG Agreement for Grant Award Number 23-IN-001 and the contract for administrative services for Coffee County, Kansas, CDBG Economic Development Project / SSM with Government Assistance Services.
Does that sound okay?
It does.
I make that motion.
I'll second that.
Been moved by McCurry and seconded by Peterson. Is there any further discussion? I guess I'd just say the first contract was signed by Jesse, and then I'm signing the paperwork that I'm the chairman now, so. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Both of these, right?
Andy, if you'll just scan those two signatures to me.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
No,
Thank you.
Thanks, Wade.
Thank you.
And I swear I had those bid tabs on that too.
Is that all we need?
That's it.
Okay. Housing Authority Director, Rhonda Gilbert, USD 244, Craig Marshall. Discussion of land near rec center. Come on down.
Craig and I just thought we should kind of give you an update. The city did contact me after our meeting and said that the plot survey actually that we had would work. So that's good news. We will not have to spend that funding at this time. So for that, we still will need the ditch drainage survey. But we wanted to update you on that. So.
Wanted to make sure you understood that, of course, I guess you approved up to $10,000 for half of the total amount between the two. We don't need one of those now. We just want to make sure, is it okay to still do up to that $10,000, or what is your preference?
Well, I think the motion was half of the cost, up to $10,000, but one half of it.
I've just got a question.
Correct?
Yes.
Am I at that right, or?
Yeah. I've just got a question though out there. You've got the highline poles going through there. So what's going to happen? I mean, I assume that they'll have to be moved, or that utility have to be moved somewhere. I know I'm getting my ahead, but that's.
I think the city, we would be in contact with them on what would we be doing with the utilities. Are they underground? Are they rerouted? You know,
Sure.
To me, underground would make sense, but that's going to end up being the city's call.
Right, okay.
Good question.
No, I just drove out by there just to get an idea of what we were looking at and see. That was just one item, besides the ditch.
Of course.
Back to the cost thing, I mean, were we looking at the 10,000 or half of the cost?
Half the cost,
Because I too,
Is what the motion was, I mean,
we're still participating in half of the cost.
Yes.
Okay.
and we could change that if we wanted to.
No, that's the way I would prefer it.
So if that, I think the drainage, they were assuming it was going to be somewhere in the neighborhood around $8,000. That would still be covered by the county, is the way you're understanding, correct? Half the cost up to
4,000.
10.
I mean, if it was 8,000, then we participate in 4,000.
Okay.
And if it goes up a little bit, then, but up to, I mean, because you
Yeah.
just said that, so if it was
Yeah, if
like,
you had a
if they came back and
$20,000
looked for
expense, we would go up to $10,000. You'd pay half up to that point and not beyond. That's the way I
Okay.
would read
The way I was looking at it, we were sharing in the cost.
Yeah,
Right.
half of the cost.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted to verify.
Yes.
I'm gonna keep you updated on that.
All right.
Okay.
You received any phone calls on
On what now? I'm sorry.
your endeavor here?
Not yet, as far as
As far as housing.
as far as the housing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
I
Struggle myself.
received a text message and I returned a phone call and just explaining we're not putting 20 houses up on that property. It's not what was shared a few weeks ago at the meeting. It's 4 to 6 houses
And
depending upon.
and the concern was that the housing that went out there would
Yes.
match the housing that was out there and not degrade. I think
And that was the one phone call I took, and I did explain that it's going to be similar housing. We talked about that, and we shared that at the county commissioners meeting.
Want to keep our neighborhoods.
Exactly.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that was never.
So you must have had this, okay.
Probably.
Probably, okay.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much.
Enjoy the weather.
Yeah.
The dirt's back there shaking his head.
Yeah. Just keep it north, Ryan.
Well, Connie, yeah, we're a couple minutes ahead, but come on down.
Time that just right. I was just letting you guys know that our values are getting ready to go out March 1st. And as you all know, was meeting with PBD last fall, that I needed to take the values up. So they're going up about 20%.
Yeah.
On average. And then I also wanted to give you guys, here's a couple copies of, this is what PBD requires me, property valuation. One's a maintenance specs and the other one's my procedure compliance that I have to follow. And I just wanted to get you guys a copy of it so you guys
Okay.
would have them. And if anybody else wants another copy, I can make more copies.
Okay.
And looking at my values for the 2024 sales, we're right at 100% by raising the values. Where they said we have to be between 90 and 110, we're right around 100.
By raising the values?
Yes.
At that 20%?
Yes, using my 2024 sales.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
you have any questions?
No, go ahead.
Raising values just because of the way things are selling, or?
The way things are selling, this made me raise my value, and then I have to be in compliance with the state. And my sales need to be between 90 and 110, and so therefore I had to raise because before I was down like in the 80s.
Okay.
Well, and that's the sad part of this is that when I restate for the public is that if I recall correctly, the ultimatum was either raise these or we'll raise them for you, and you won't like,
Right, yeah.
we won't like what the state will do if they take that out of your hands, is my
So
recollection.
I'm just trying to
Correct.
do the best I can and do my job and
Because
follow.
none of us want them to go up.
I don't want them to go up.
Absolutely, I
So
know.
it's just our sales that made them go up.
Is there not proposed legislation right now that
There
puts a
is
cap on
we're
3%
looking at a 3%
per year?
cap valuation per year, but as far as I know, it hasn't passed. My understanding, it would have to go to a vote,
She said two different things.
Oh, okay.
so that would be up to the vote.
You do that.
Because it would have to be
Okay.
a
But you
constitutional
don't have-
amendment.
You want more copies?
There's some other legislation also.
Right, they're talking about doing away with
Yeah.
additional property also for big trucks, or trucks.
And did I see something about like an average of 6 years of assessed valuation or something
Right,
like that?
they've got several
There's all
issues out
kinds of
there.
hybrids, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's several issues out there that they're looking at.
Is there I know in the past, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you've taken the stance to graduate the increases over a period of time.
Right.
Is that something that you have available now, so that if there is proposed legislation that
Right, it
comes
would
through?
depend on when that would go in effect, how that would all work. So like right now, if they're talking about the 3% cap, would be able to go up 3% from the previous year.
So instead of going 20% now, is there an advantage to graduating that in, or to wait to see if
I have been
legislation-
trying to not raise values because of our sales, because I was trying to think that they would come back down, but they haven't, they're just getting worse. So that's why I had to just do such a
But
drastic.
you have to go up 20% all at once, or can that be gradual?
I went up 15 last year.
Right, and
then
so it's 20%.
I'm just trying to get caught up and do 20% this year. And not everybody's getting the 20%, it's an average. That's the most I believe they've gone up.
So what, tell me again what happens if you go against what the state,
They can come in and take the county when office over. They haven't done that for a while,
but that they can?
Yes. If
So-
I'm out of compliance, they can
So
take,
I'm just curious, do all counties do all?
statewide, everybody has to do the same thing. And what I'm trying to find what everybody else is doing this year. Most of them is around 10%, there is some that's up to 20% also.
I was just curious what the,
Yeah, what
if you run against state wishes and,
Yeah, they could come in, I wouldn't have a job. And then you guys would have to follow what they do.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm not arguing with you.
No,
I mean,
I know, and
it
if
just-
there's anything,
It's just,
I don't want them to go up 20%.
yeah.
I'm sick about it. But,
So you don't think we can be at 95% and be safe?
some of them's probably gonna be around that amount, like I said, it's gonna be mainly what they sold for, we're looking at.
And this is based on sales
Right, for the last 3 years.
for the last 3 years.
Okay,
So what happens when, if sales say,
start going back down,
Mhm.
then the values would probably go back down.
and so that, okay. In other words, it's just not, it can go down,
Right,
okay?
and,
No, I just,
and the ag land is on use value and not market value, everything else is on market value.
okay. Say that again on the A.
The state sends me my ag use values,
Uh-huh.
they're by use value and not market value, where everything else is market value.
So ag,
Right, and ag is going down.
that's what I thought, yeah, fine.
Okay, any other questions?
So, this happens, and it'll happen at budget time, when everybody will come in and blame the board for the cost going up. The appraised values are not a function of this board that, in fact, this board has nothing to do with the values if it's going up 20%, like
Right.
you said.
And it's gonna depend on what the millage is, what the value, what their tax dollars. I just evaluate them.
Right.
I'm just curious, is the state addressing this any way I mean, is it going anywhere on the state side that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of. I know legislature's trying to do away with personal property, except for the trucks, like I said. And then they're looking at the cap on valuations.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to do my job, guys.
No, I'm not.
No, I know. Thank you.
If they come in and, I hate to hammer a drum, but this is a drum worth hammering in my opinion. So let's say the legislature passes whatever they're dealing with right now, that caps it at 3% per year. Is there a retroactive provision that that's what you're doing right now? Where
I
it
have
will,
not heard when that would take effect or anything. My understanding, would have to go to a vote because it's constitutional, but there's
Sure.
several different options out there, so I'm not sure which one they're gonna end up doing. People can come in and protest their values, their taxes. They can do it twice a year when their values come out or when their tax statements come out. And unless there's something wrong with their property, I'm probably gonna let them go to vote and let voters decide.
When they protest, then is that forward to the state? I mean, is that a state process then? I should know, but I don't.
It's a process that they, give me where they could do the value or the taxes. One time a year they can protest.
Okay.
And then if they're not okay with my value, then it can go on to
They
state
can go
board.
ahead, right,
Yep,
okay.
okay. Any other questions? And this is a reappointment year, so hopefully I still have a job in July. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Okay, Road and Bridge Superintendent Ryan Durst, Department updates. Good morning, Ryan.
Morning, everybody.
Didn't have any call-outs this weekend. Got a few motions to go over today. First one is just for the county dust control program. So we wanted our bids here last week for Scott Wood, so we're keeping our prices the same for the public this year. So this is just some information that we put together this brochure last year, and it went over pretty well, I think, so we'll be sending out again this year. So basically, this goes out to everybody that's ever gotten a dust control in the county, who usually gets one will get this. Just some information on there, just kind of start dates and what the cost is. With that, I just need a motion to approve this year's county dust control program.
Okay. Motion based upon the recommendation of the Road and Bridge Superintendent to approve the dust control program for 2025 as presented by the Road and Bridge Superintendent and direct the county clerk to publish notice of the same. I'll move.
I'll second.
Been moved by Thompson and seconded by McCurry. Any further discussion?
I will say, we talked about out west of town, how we done that full mile here last year, so, I mean, definitely gonna add in one more mile there. Kind of expand that out for this year, is the plans, so.
Okay.
It's the same dust control we publish every year, right?
Yes.
I don't publish the.
No, you don't publish that.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the cost? Oh, there it is.
$1.70 a foot,
I see it, sorry.
linear foot.
Should've read some more before you.
Yeah, that's all right.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passed.
All right, thank you. And the next motion is for bidding our cold mix patching material for this upcoming year.
Okay, motion based upon the recommendation of the Road and Bridge Superintendent to approve the request to solicit bids for cold mix patching material for 2025 road maintenance. Funds to be paid from the Road and Bridge Fund.
I'll move.
It's been moved by Peterson and seconded by Huguenin. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
Well, can you send me that? That's cool.
Yeah, yep. All right, thank you. Next would be invitation to bid liquid asphalt.
Is that maximum length
Oh, it's for me.
pest control, carved in stone type thing?
For individuals, I mean, yeah, I can't think of anywhere that we've gone more than that for an individual house. Now, there's been some, like the city of New Strong there, on that street. I don't know what the street name is, but Industrial Road there on the east side of 75. I mean, that was a longer stretch. And then down at Gridley, there's a street that would be probably go beyond those lengths there. Yeah.
I'll move based upon the recommendation of the Road and Bridge Superintendent to approve the request to solicit bids for liquid asphalt for the 2025 chip seal program. Funds to be paid from the Road and Bridge Fund.
I'll second that.
Been moved by Peterson and seconded by McCurry. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
All right, thank you. And the next motion would be for hiring summer help, and we have 9 or 10 listed on.
10.
Okay, perfect.
Motion based upon the recommendation of the Road and Bridge Superintendent to approve the request to advertise and hire up to 10 temporary seasonal employees.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Been moved by McCurry, seconded by Thompson. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
All right, thank you. Then last, be a motion for resolution for the minimum maintenance roads. This is the round that we started last July. Been to zoning a couple times, and I'd like to look at setting February 24th at 10 o'clock for the public hearing, if that works.
February 24th. Let me check that real quick. Yes.
Those are the roads that.
Northeast, yeah.
Everything's good there, like.
Yeah, I mean, we had 2 roads come off the original list, but.
Ones that were discussed.
Yes.
Okay. Motion to approve resolution number 2025-944, a resolution declaring certain roads or parts of roads located within the northeast quarter of Coffee County, Kansas as minimum maintenance roads pursuant to KSA 68-5102.
I'll make that motion.
Is that, the way it reads is you're adopting the resolution? You want to have it say, setting a hearing to address that resolution? Because it's already been before you and then it got sent back, so it's sort of a little more tricky.
Oh, yeah, so it's going back to,
Public hearing.
It's coming back here from zoning.
Right, you're correct.
So you're setting a hearing to address this resolution, because the way it reads is you're adopting the resolution. Just my opinion.
Okay. So why don't I reread that? Move to set a hearing to address resolution number 2025-944. Is that okay, Wade?
Yeah, all you need to have is the public hearing and then the notice that goes out for the.
So you don't need the whole resolution in there?
I don't think it, I mean, it's gonna be the same resolution. I assume that got brought up before,
Okay.
so having that resolution in there
Okay.
is fine.
Okay.
Okay, so do you have it in there?
I think it's fine. I think this is an outlier. It's not normally how this happens because it's been back to zoning twice. So
Okay.
you're gonna be hearing the resolution that has already had one public hearing. And that way people are put on notice if they want to attend. I'd imagine the individuals that have been here and maybe in the two zoning meetings will probably show up, and this is what will trigger them to know to show up.
And everything's good on that side of it with the.
Correct.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll still make that motion.
You want me to read it again?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, I can read it again.
I changed it a little.
Yeah, okay. Motion to set a public hearing to address resolution number 2025-944, resolution declaring certain roads or parts of roads located within the northeast quarter of Coffee County, Kansas as minimum maintenance roads pursuant to KSA 68-5102 at 10 a.m. on Monday, February 24th, 2025, in the commission chambers. And McCurry has moved. I'll second that. Then moved by McCurry and seconded by Thompson. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you. That's the motions I had for today. Other than that, we're just kinda storm prepping, get some trucks ready to go for this week and see what happens. There's three.
Hopefully not much of anything.
Well, hopefully not. Potentially 3 storms between now and Sunday, so one kind of Wednesday maybe be a little bigger. Weather was too nice last couple of weeks.
It was.
I haven't seen a winter last this long in quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, keeps coming back, doesn't it? All right, thank you, Ron.
Yep.
I just got, I think you guys put in a culvert for David Kunkel up there, here's the last.
Yeah.
He just wanted to commend you guys on a good job. that you
Oh,
did.
all right, great.
I'm just passing that along.
No, appreciate it. I'll definitely pass it on to the guys.
Yeah, please do. He was really pleased with it.
Great, great.
All right, well, you guys have a good week.
You too, thank you, Ryan. Wade, we tabled the motion before, about, leasing the land for the Lebo Tower up there. And I believe the question Steve brought up was, you know, it's $100 a year annually. So just curious how that contract reads, is that
For
forever?
Forever or
Well,
elected.
before you sign it, you probably need to see it. I mean, since it binds you and it binds the city of Lebo, so, but it's for 40 years.
Okay.
And it's, typically you won't sign off on something like that unless it's considered, I think the correct terminology is a public necessity and emergency radio tower. I mean, the whole reason why it's being done is to expand the radio capability to protect first responders, law enforcement, in remote areas of the county, and those are I'm just saying.
Yeah, and I'm not questioning I was just questioning the length of time.
Sure.
I mean, whether it was 40 or 100 years or what kind of time frame that was.
My understanding, the life of a tower, and Sheriff can tell me if I'm wrong, is 40 years.
Okay.
So
It does say it in the agreement. This is like three point.
Oh, is it in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't read that.
It's like 3 point, so.
Okay.
I'd encourage you to have it printed off and look at it, because it has some language in it that you might want to double check and make sure it meets your requirements. It does give the option later on down the road that each of the cities are getting the benefit of a radio tower, which will enhance capabilities around their individual communities and adjacent areas. But somewhere down the road, if you have, let's say, a cellular provider that wants to lease space on one of those towers, that option is there as long as they go through and are approved by the county. Zoning or the city has a rule.
Yeah, wait, I wasn't questioning the
No,
contract
no,
at all.
no.
It was just the time.
I'm just saying for those watching out and
Okay.
the public, I look at it as a dual layer. You're asking me, but when you ask me, I want to make sure it's communicated to those who are watching and,
Sure. So in that case then, would that rent money from a cell phone company come to us or to the city?
to the county.
Okay, all right, because I questioned before us paying rent for something that I felt was a proven area, but that makes sense too, that they get a little compensation for something that the county might do.
Well, so the way to look at that is, let's say, Lebo, for example, a cellular provider comes in and puts equipment on a county-owned tower. That will enhance the citizens of the city of Lebo because their coverage will increase or get better because of that.
They could
that
desperately
equipment.
use something.
So indirectly, they get a benefit, but the county is paying the lion's share for the majority of the tower being put in place within their community. It's the way to look at it. And maybe there's a better way to explain it than that.
Do you need a copy?
I'm good. That's another question I had, so.
And I think they've already signed off on it, didn't they?
City Labor?
Yes. I know they went to Lebo and Leroy, and I couldn't remember, one signed off and one deferred it for a little more time. And at the very back in attachment A, you should have the property description and a map that shows where that will go.
Everybody satisfied that, I mean,
Yeah,
I've kind of skimmed through this. Do we need to wait and examine this further, or do we want to proceed, or?
I'm fine.
I'm good with
Mr.
it.
Bowie wrote it up, and it's already been approved by City of Lebo, so I'm fine with moving on.
Yeah, I'm good with moving on. My only question is just on the length of time.
Time frame.
Yeah,
Mark, you okay? Okay, so,
I put it down at the bottom here for you, because you guys have already moved and seconded it and tabled.
okay.
Here's where it was.
Okay, so I'll just read this again. Hugoton moved upon the recommendation of the Emergency Management Director and approval of the county attorney as to form to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the land lease agreement between the City of Lebo and Coffee County Board of Commissioners for the lease of a 75 by 75 foot tract of land located at 556 Old Highway 50, Lebo, Kansas, for the lease price of $100 annually to be the site for construction of one of 3 radio communication towers. Funds to come from the Emergency Management Radio Maintenance Fund. And it was seconded by McCurry. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. So then, as far as what I've got, that gets us down to the hospital board appointment.
You want to sign these two real
Oh,
quick?
okay, sure.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. We'll get that done, that way it's taken care of.
One, I have 2 copies to sign.
Get it to
Stuck on there.
cooperate.
All right, let's do that.
Okay. Okay. Last thing was hospital board appointments I know we read the statute, but I guess, or you did, I did, that we cannot go into executive session to discuss this, which I really do not understand that.
I think the guidance is out there. My understanding is, it's something that's a hot topic among other counties and on the legal side, but the direction is for the time being to not do it because they're not technically considered, appointed board members aren't technically considered employees, so to speak. There is that carve out for if you're interviewing somebody for an appointed position or something like that. The only other way to do it is if there's a legal issue, and from time to time you have a legal issue that may surface, but
Yeah.
I think the goal and the intent would be when you have appointed board members who are serving as volunteers, to have that discussion in an open session so the public knows who these individuals are, and how you get there in multiple different locations probably is a variety of different ways. I think having the individuals come in and present like they did last week is helpful. You know, we're in this new world where technology is, people watch and replay words over and over again on YouTube and whatnot, so I think the more you get out in the open is probably better, especially when you're appointing people to different boards. So.
Well, I guess, go ahead, Steve. I mean, I guess if we got to discuss it publicly, I guess my thought is that I wish we had two openings, because I think both these candidates are qualified to be on the board. It makes it really difficult, in my thoughts, to make a choice. And, you know, I guess if it's got to be discussed in public session, I mean, Marlene Cook, all of us known her forever, and, you know, she'd be a good candidate, has business experience. I think William Conroy probably has a wider, more diverse experience of different things that he's dealt with in life. So it's a difficult decision. I mean, I guess I'd have to give the nod to William myself.
I'm gonna make a motion wherever it goes. I'm gonna make a motion to for William Conroy to be selected.
It's on your screen if you can get it.
I lost my screen.
Oh, okay.
There, use mine.
I move to appoint William Conroy to the hospital board to fill a 3-year term beginning December 31, 2024 to December 31, 2027.
Do I have a second? I guess I'll second it. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion carries.
That was my,
That's a half vote. Half vote, huh?
nobody caught.
So, and I really want to thank Marlene for showing her interest, and would encourage her to apply for this board or another board again if she so wishes. So thank them both for volunteering to put in their time.
Just to let you know, my thoughts are exactly like yours, that I've known Marlene for a long time.
Oh, me
Either
too.
one would be an excellent candidate, and, I think, yeah.
It's a tough decision. I've
Very
pondered
good.
it a lot, so
Very tough.
both qualified in my opinion, so.
Yeah.
with that decision having been made, if you hadn't have opened it up for those individuals to come in and present, you may not have known who your selection was, because they were the name that you didn't know.
Right.
They came in, gave their presentation, and they provided some new information that you wouldn't have gained if they wouldn't have come in. And that was my whole point in suggesting that if you have people who are wanting to be on these boards, to have them, if they want to do so, to be able to come in and make that presentation.
Yeah, and some of them might not be able to because of work or whatever, and I think we stated that previously, that wouldn't be a must-have, but it was very beneficial, and it's a great idea, so I appreciate that.
But to give them the opportunity, if they can't come in person, to maybe appear by Zoom or at a minimum by phone to say, here's who I am. And I think that goes a long way, because people can come back, they can watch the camera, they can see who they are. Oh, that's who that is. I see them at such and such. Or to introduce themselves if they're a new member of the community. I don't think somebody who's just moved here should necessarily be penalized by not being a long-standing member of the community. But the person who's a long-standing member of the community may be a better selection for whatever reason that you come up with. And this was a perfect example of having somebody who wasn't a known commodity come in and make their presentation, and they were just selected.
Worked out quite well. Thank you for your
recommendation. Thank everyone. Yes.
I'll get a letter sent out.
Pardon me?
I'll get a letter sent out.
Okay. So I think that's the end of our agenda. We've got a few more things here to sign.
I might have fixed something.
I don't know what I'm doing.
No worries.
Thanks.
Your round table?
Yeah. Now, Bowie wanted to start a reverse thing here. Which way was that go?
Well, we started with Angie the last time, so.
She may send it back.
Go ahead, Angie, if you like.
Well, next Monday we're closed for President's Day. So there will be no meeting on Monday, it will be Tuesday. And then, as you all are aware, there is the chance of bad weather. So, hopefully it misses us, but if it does not, do you want us to continue with our group? If there were to be bad roads and weather that could be unsafe for traveling or opening the courthouse, you would be in that loop now, Wade, as chairman.
Okay.
So it would be you, me, which I'm not even sure I need to be in it anymore, but I am still. So it would be you, me, Tom, Amber, and Ryan.
Okay.
And we collectively make a decision on whether to stay or open or close. So.
Okay. I mean, if anybody else wants to be involved in that, I would sure relinquish my responsibility. That's fine with me.
You just don't want that 4 o'clock phone call.
I don't care, buddy. You can call me anytime. I'll pick up on the first ring.
Yeah.
Maybe not right about 1:30 or 2. I'm pretty dead to the world now.
No, I think it needs to stay just like it is.
Okay.
I think that's, you guys.
And then I'll notify you guys if we're closed.
Right.
Great. Okay.
Because the way it sounds, it could get pretty bad.
It could,
again.
Yeah, we'll find out. Hopefully not. So
Yeah.
it's a poor way to get moisture as far as I'm concerned. I like moisture, but I don't care much for snow.
The ice is not what they're talking about. They haven't yet. That may come up. It's just gonna be this snow.
Yeah.
I'll take the snow. I'll take 6 foot of snow over a 1/4 inch of ice.
Yeah, the way it sounds nice to the east of us this time. 6 foot's a lot.
Yeah. Fog and ice, that's my two in that order that I hate. I hate fog worse than ice. But.
Yeah, we handle the snow. We can handle that. Remember I told you before, after the first slip rounds, you'll have an accident, and after that, people understand. Oh, yeah, it's that time of year. And
we do have to slow down.
Yeah, so most of the time, and again, we're good about putting stuff out on social media. People really like that. As soon as we find out something, we put it out there, so.
Great, that really does help. Yeah.
And that's all.
Good. Nothing else for Angie?
Nope.
Well, I can't say I've got anything. Steve?
I don't have anything.
Tom?
I'd like to get this concrete thing off dead center.
We talked about it earlier, Tom.
I heard you tried to pass it before I got here. I heard that, yes.
Yeah, that's right.
But I said the sheriff and I we agree on a lot of things, but this is one we don't necessarily agree on.
What's your thoughts, Sheriff?
Oh, you're gonna ask me. It's good, I appreciate it.
Well, we heard his, you might as well voice yours.
You got 30 seconds to think about it, you know?
Wait, before you
Oh, you gonna put me on a timer, so I only got so much time to talk, or what?
He said 30 seconds.
Oh, okay.
I said he had had that much time to think about
I
it
got
before he stated his opinion.
Again, you're gonna do what you feel is right. I'm totally against it coming out of our $30 million budget. Totally against it. This was not put in the scope. This wasn't something you guys thought about or we thought about when we did this bond. This was just, River City said, after this has long been going on, a year into the build, River City says, hey, you're gonna think about redoing this concrete, you've talked about it, it's all, this west side has got holes in it, it's cracked, we've tried to patch it, it looks terrible, it's hard to do in the wintertime, keep, stuff clean. The one on the south side, on the southeast corner there, that water's pooled there as long as I've worked here. It's tried to be worked on, it's tried to be fixed, and water still stands out there, runs into the building every spring. And so they brought this up. I don't feel that now that if you decide to do this concrete work, and my personal opinion is, yeah, it needs to be done. But I don't think that should come out of the $30 million project. I've got 3.5 months left on this project, and I don't know what's gonna happen. There may be something come up, and now I've gotta come up with money out of that contingency fund to pay for it. And I don't feel that, I think it's $52,000 to do both of these concrete projects. I don't think that money should come out of the $30 million. That wasn't in the scope of the project. There's a building general maintenance fund, I know, it's, if the roof had a hole in it, that's where that money would come from. You're doing the concrete around this courthouse, it shouldn't come out of my contingency fund. It shouldn't come out of that $30 million. I know that, just like you sit there and tell me that as an elected official, I need to spend within my budget. And I try to do that, and I've done that every year. I've never went over budget. Well, don't take this money away from me and then, and then say something's come up and now you're gonna have to pay for it. There's gonna be two people that get hurt. Me or the court system when this phase 2 happens, because you're gonna automatically take $50,000 out of their budget. So leave the budget the way it is. That $30 million project, leave the contingency where it's at. And I think you need to take this out of the building maintenance fund, not out of the $30 million. It was never brought up to begin with. It wasn't in the scope to be done. This is an afterthought.
In my defense, I brought that up when the initial design started to replace that courtyard area, being involved in the original design, and it never happened.
That's right. And I'm here to tell you too, whether that happened because we had to cut, because if you remember correctly, the original project, once the bids all came in, was $37 million.
Yeah.
And I had to cut over $12 million to get it down to the $25 million, so we'd still have extra money to do the phase 2 project, the courthouse. So I've cut and cut and cut and cut to make this project
To make
work.
it stay within the.
That's right. Yep, I had to cut to make this work.
Like I say, I brought it up more than once about replacing that concrete, even after they got started.
Yep,
I
you
brought
did.
it up to Ryan, I brought it up to everybody.
Yeah, just like, guys, you're gonna have to think about it if you haven't. At some point when this is done, that street's gonna have to probably be worked on, that goes down to the Huggan going around.
Yeah.
It's all broke up. Now, again, that's another project. That shouldn't come out of my budget, fixing that street. It's there, it's broke up, it was a problem before we started. There's always potholes in it and everything else. But all this traffic has got that street. So again, you shouldn't just take that, the street needs to be done, take it out of my budget. That wasn't in the scope.
We talked about that this morning too.
Yeah. So that's Wade and I, we had to knock down drag out this weekend. I won, of course, but
The other option is to not do anything and leave it and.
That's not an option.
Yeah, it's not I don't think it's a wise option, it is an option.
So
Excuse me, just, you have something?
Well, I could just add to the argument or whatever. You guys, just so you're aware, with the finances, you have your capital improvement plan that you budget $50,000 every year that usually you haven't even used, so you have that available. And then you also, under the general fund, for any building maintenance larger than the normal budget, you've got the capital improvement, general fund capital outlay line item.
We have funds available.
That's like 1.25 million in there, and then you've got 50,000. So I mean, you have the ability that you could do that just to take it off of your concerns.
I appreciate that.
Well, and I appreciate you've been adamant all along, Tom, about staying within your budget.
Yep.
Made a promise to the people.
That's right.
And I appreciate you've worked hard to.
And I know he's cut some stuff out.
Floor tile and different things that you've done away with, and I appreciate that you tried to make it as cost reasonable as you could.
And I think you've done a good job between wants and needs. I mean, I think.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you, I appreciate that.
I think, in my mind, of what I've seen, we've got 100% function without some extra frills, so
Yes, sir.
thank you for
It's
that.
gonna be a workhorse. It's not gonna be a
Yes, sir.
Cadillac, it's gonna be a workhorse.
But to Tom's point, I think that if we do something, we need to do it, however we get it done, we need to do it here sooner than later.
I agree.
Just like Cole said,
March 1st.
Concrete Unlimited, we don't know what their schedule's like. You don't know if you send it out for bids out to, other contractors around, their schedules could be gonna get tight too, so the sooner you get this done, the better.
So how do we handle that, Tom?
Me being a concrete contractor, I'd like to see you bid it, but I'm not gonna go there.
It's gotta be, so if that's your choice, then it's gotta be bid out.
That'll be a better,
But I'm fine with either way, whether you talk to Concrete Unlimited, of course, if we add to his contract and that takes it out of his budget, or do you give him the money from those funds that we were talking about into his department to pay for it?
but to make it,
That wouldn't bother you, would it?
No, sir, it would.
Okay. So there's your two options.
but if we put it out to bid, that would give them a chance to bid it also.
Correct.
Correct?
So all I'm saying, the urgency here, and I'm sure that Cole or Ryan have told you, March 1st.
Ain't that far away.
No, sir, it's, a couple of weeks here, 3 or 4 weeks, is when they're gonna start redoing everything else. They're bringing Skillman as the contractor that was bid on, and they're gonna come in and start doing everything around the building, leveling, getting the grade set and everything else. And if that's the time to do this, start this, cut out this concrete, bust it up and get it out of there, so they can form it up to pour it. We don't wanna do this later when they've already poured concrete and got asphalt in and they got trucks going over it. Now's the time to do it. That's the urgency of it.
Yeah, we don't wanna be on green concrete running around.
No, so,
I would think anyhow.
Got a question about the contingency fund, I guess. Okay, after the court remodel, if there's any money left in the contingency fund, that basically comes back to the county.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So it's possible we could have some money and it would.
Reimburse you for that, out of that fund.
But I agree,
Absolutely.
but I agree with you.
until that time, I didn't mean that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I agree that it shouldn't come out of the budget,
Until you're complete, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, for me, I'm trying to scrimp and save. And if anybody doesn't believe that, come down. I'll be more than happy to talk to them how we've scrimped to save to make things work.
Oh,
But
yeah.
if I save $200,000, then listen, folks, it's not like I'm gonna get to use that. That's gonna go into phase 2. It's just moving over. So I'm doing what has to be done to make sure that my portion of this bill is under budget. And I just felt, that taking $50,000 when there's 4 months of work left to go could put a bind on me. I'm not saying that we're gonna be that tight, but I shouldn't have to worry about that. Let me live within my budget.
And to your point,
I understand that.
that's just like the change in, the big change order.
Oh, for the salad.
So, absolutely.
something like that to come up on.
That's right. That's right.
So if we put it out for bid, would we have enough time to put it out for bid?
Oh, I think so. Like I said, they're gonna start, I think that River City, if you're gonna do the concrete, both these concrete projects, I just think they need to be able to tell Skillman, hey, you're gonna tear that up too, that's coming out because we're pouring concrete. You have time to get somebody to bid, I would believe. I don't know why you wouldn't. You know, you have to advertise it, I'm sure, you know, for so many weeks or whatever. I think you'd still have plenty of time. I'm not the construction guy, but don't,
Right.
I would assume you would have time.
Would the removal be part of that bid though?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely, and that,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. I'm okay with going either route. I mean, I'm
I
getting in
think probably-
trouble for not bidding it. I don't, you know, what our perimeters are there.
If we've got time to put it out for bid and get it back in a timely fashion, I would like to see us go out for bids then. Because that gives,
I'm arguing that it's not in scope. You know, it wasn't set ahead of time. And if it's not in scope, why wouldn't you bid it out? It's a new project, basically. It's just two little concrete pours. It's probably two projects. That's my personal opinion.
so that entails on the west side, and then on the Sallyport side, is that what?
The very southeast corner, there,
Southeast corner.
where you go in the door,
Right.
walk-in door into the jail, into the backside of the courthouse there, of the sheriff's office. That concrete, just little concrete place there, it's on the east side of the driveway that goes into that Sallyport. That east around the corner of the building. And then the west side here, by the west doors, west.
Can we simplify this by having it put in the paper this week to, the contractor has to come visit with the sheriff or you or me or whomever to look at the project, if it's over X amount of dollars, a performance and maintenance bond will be required?
It's kind of whatever you're wanting to see happen. I think there's,
I know you say 25,000, we gotta have it bonded, so if the bid comes in over 25,000, they have to do performance and maintenance bond along with it. But
Which it probably would
without
be.
somebody going out there measuring it and saying, hey, there's this many square feet here or whatever, we can push that off on the contractor. I mean, in that way, somebody's met with somebody to say, this is exactly what we're doing, and then you're apples to apples, so.
Yeah, we can get River City to come and meet with us, whatever day it is that they wanna come, and they can say, your concrete's gonna start right here and go that.
Right.
So,
Right.
we'd have River City with us, and
Yeah.
I'll be more than happy to show people around, or somebody from my staff.
They
You
should-
set
they
that
should-
time up.
Yeah, you should both be involved, River City,
Absolutely.
Sheriff, Wade, whoever we
Yeah,
need.
they're gonna have to be able to butt up to something that River City's done, so they ought to be
Right.
involved.
I agree.
my concern is that it's not in writing, then you potentially have issues later on down the road. 'Cause I understand the point is for it to be apples to apples, but if someone comes out and it's not in writing and it's not exactly the same, then does that give somebody
They wanna put 2 inches of concrete in or
I-
something.
I'd rather see whatever it is in the scope be put in writing and then go out that way. But
You mean have the bid, the public announce and say, a bid for 4 inches of concrete on such and such dimensions, or what?
whatever the specs would be.
I'd assume you can get that to demolish or remove the existing concrete, and then you don't know what's underneath. For example, if you remember on the west side of right outside here in the courtyard, that's where we had the drainage issue with that pipe that ran underneath the concrete.
Yeah.
So there might be some excavation that needs to occur there to clean that up, and then you don't know what's underneath. So there may have to be some sort of an allowance there to remove and replace even the dirt to get it to compact to be whatever it needs to be. You know more about that than I do, Tom.
Well, I mean, obviously we've got an expert on our board. I mean, if you were interested in trying to come up with some type of a
Well, the only
what we
spec
should
I'd
do.
say is, just 4 to 5 inches of concrete, compacted sub-base, with rebar on 2-foot centers, and they'll have to come out and field measure it themselves. Unless you guys wanna,
Have an approximate measurement or something.
Well, they're gonna come out and field measure, that can be, but what you just said.
well, they probably ought to come out and see what they're up against anyway, it's
Right.
sandwiched in between those two buildings.
Yeah.
So I would say, the site visit, it would be highly recommended,
And with those specs.
or mandatory, or whatever.
And with those specs that you
Just quoted.
That's basically a
I mean, that would be.
standard.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just have to get that, I'll have to get with you and get it put in writing so it can go out, but
When's our deadline for the paper?
5 o'clock today. Wink.
we can get, we can get something,
Basically, that's, I mean, that,
and then have, what would be the deadline?
That'll be published twice, then,
Well, usually goes 3 times, I think.
Yeah, 3 times.
about 3 times.
So that go 13th, 20th, and 27th.
So it's really critical we get it in this week if we can.
mhm.
You're talking about them pouring concrete or whatever in the first week of March.
No, they're doing demo work.
Demo work
They won't be
first.
pouring till April.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But
That makes-
but even so,
that makes
time
it
will
better,
get,
but-
time will get away.
But the
It always
demolition
does.
will start before then, obviously. I mean, I think the first of March, they're going to start.
As long as ground
Right.
they can do their site prep.
That's all we were told is that, again, Skillman's coming in, they won the bid on all of it, so they're doing all the other sites, and if there's a time then to start, taking out that concrete, then that's the time to do it, and do it all at one time.
And I think Cole said that he was going, if at all possible, they were going to start moving their trailer and stuff out at first of March.
Yes, sir, all that's gonna be done.
Right.
We've got them a room upstairs on the second floor, the second floor's already done,
Right.
basically. We're gonna move them upstairs, all the fencing is going away, trailer's going away, because they have to have a way to do that grading and, so all that's gonna be gone pretty quickly.
I thought he was joking for a minute, but you actually are gonna have him a room upstairs.
Yes, sir,
Utilize.
yes, sir, we're gonna put them upstairs,
Fingers crossed.
second floor. So, yeah, we're gonna give them a room to work out of, so they'll have to have someplace.
Maybe that was that room you had reserved for McCurry and I downstairs.
Oh, no,
there,
sir,
I
that
thought.
room's gonna stay open for you guys.
So
No,
thanks.
I appreciate it, I appreciate you listening to us anyway about
Sure.
our concerns. Not that you have, you guys have always done good, I appreciate this commission.
So I think to keep it on track, I suggest taking one of Ryan's earlier motions to solicit bids, copying it, and then customize it to a bid.
Mm-hmm.
Approve the request to solicit bids for,
It's gonna be for demo and concrete, right, because that's,
Remove and replace.
the demo, that's right, the demo is not, yeah.
Yeah, get remove and replace. Well,
concrete to the west, west courtyard horseshoe, and concrete to the south of,
The southeast corner of the building.
well, so it would only be the concrete coming out of the existing jail to the south of the Sally Port, because there's a concrete
Horseshoe.
What is it,
stairway
right?
that's
Oh,
not gonna be
horseshoe.
replaced, right? That stairwell going down,
That wouldn't be affected,
I know, but I'm just for the scope.
yeah.
Coming out of the jail.
So
to the
coming
south
out of the,
Yeah, to the south and just to the west.
southwest corner.
No, it's the southeast corner of the building, but it comes out and then goes just west in front of that
South-
Sally Port Drive, so it's just gonna be right there, just,
southeast door, right?
yep,
Southeast door to the
South.
south of the Sally Port.
Yep.
And maybe just So it's even more clear, it does,
Not to include the stairway going downstairs.
Yeah.
Because there's a big, concrete buildup in the stairway going downstairs. It shouldn't affect that stairway.
just so that doesn't get bid on.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna have to read it because it's a mess right now, I'm pretty sure. You had me all over the place, so.
Concrete to the west courtyard horseshoe.
Moving.
And concrete at the southeast door coming out of existing jail to the south of the existing Sally Port. Right?
Well, all that's gonna be done because, yeah, they gotta do, well, that's part of the scope, is coming out of the south port. So it'd be just west of, the west side of that Sally Port, going east to west and south, coming from the building.
So maybe it needs to say to the southeast of the existing Sally Port?
Yeah, that's fine, that could be fine. Again, hence the reason they need to be there, to see what needs to be done.
Should that be spelled out in the bid that you need to,
Yeah, we'll get that.
they need
They
to
need to do
do
a site visit,
Yeah, need to do a site visit.
right, mandatory.
Not to include the existing stairwell.
Going into the basement.
I mean, it's a hodgepodge of a motion, but at least get it going to where you can get a bid.
Everybody, okay, where we're at?
Funds to come from. What'd you say, the capital improvement?
You can do general fund, capital outlay line item, which has 1.2 million,
That's fine.
or capital improvement reserve.
General.
So Skillman has already got the bid for site preparation, is that right?
Yeah, he got the bid for all of it, for all that.
Okay,
And so he'll be doing everything around the
Okay.
new build.
okay,
And they just said while he was here, if this was decided on and you bid it out, then he could be doing all,
then he could bid, he'll bid on this as a separate,
whoever wants to
I
bid
mean,
on it.
I didn't mean just him, but that would be put out for a separate bid then.
I think it has to be. I don't
Okay,
think
fine.
you can ask him to break all this concrete and haul it out on the original scope.
No, I didn't know where,
Right,
I didn't know
that's
what
why
his
I
scope
said-
was,
Yeah.
Tom. I didn't know how, it's just for site preparation, and then if,
If you approve this, then I think that the tear out, the hauling away all the old concrete has to be in a bid just like
okay,
the concrete.
all right, thank you.
Is everybody satisfied with what we got? I'll read it there. Motion based upon the recommendation of the sheriff to approve the request to solicit bids removing and replacing concrete to the west of the courthouse, courtyard horseshoe, and concrete at the southeast door coming out of the existing jail to the southeast of the existing Sally Port, not to include the existing stairwell. Funds to come from general fund capital outlay line item.
I'd make that motion.
I'll second.
Then moved by McCurry and seconded by Peterson. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
No, thank you.
Appreciate it.
That's all I have.
Okay.
I have another.
Mr. Bowie?
Speaking of bids, I think because we've kicked the can down the road on Maribel's roof bids, and we're sort of still waiting for bids to come in, I think getting a bid, sending out and soliciting bids to get that taken care of so we can get off center is probably the best way to deal with that one as well. Similar to the last
I gotta think about that a little bit, Wade. Everybody's had ample opportunity to turn in a bid. Do you have, you said you have two that's turned in for the scope that we're wanting?
Yeah, so comparing apples to apples and to make sure we don't end up in the county doesn't end up in a situation where there's somebody, one of the roof bidders doesn't feel like they've been they've done what was requested, and then because things are sort of all across the board to just say, let's bid it, do it in the same timeline that was just suggested for the concrete, have the roof bids come in at the same time, and then whatever comes, then it's a formal process, and the lowest and best bid is selected. And that way there's no, you know, the whole goal was to get these bids in a timely manner and then to come in and make an emergency request. But now I think the imminency of saying it's an emergency, since we've gone on this long, has dissipated. So just bid it out like anything else would be bid, and whatever comes in, and you get to make the selection, and then it's over and done. That's kind of where I am right now. I didn't want to be there, but unfortunately, that's where we are.
So we're looking at, we want to make clear that it's replacement, not repair of the existing coating, correct?
I think the repair is, from my understanding, if you repair, you're putting a Band-Aid on something and you don't know what's underneath. There's the integrity of what's underneath the existing membrane is, from what I understand, it is a problem. And
so that's going to have to be, a portion of it's going to have to be open in the bid. Is that what we're going to have to do as far as what's underneath?
I think the bid will be to repair and to a complete replacement of the existing roof of the 405 and 407 Neosho, the Merritt. Is that the right address?
That sounds right, but
Close enough.
But is that going to be feasible?
It's a necessity.
Well, yeah, I'm just, no, what I'm talking about is what's underneath of it.
Once they get underneath, how are they
Tom,
going to?
is, you know, if they bid it and they get under there and it's mediocre, and then they go ahead and,
How are they
but
going to
it's a
handle
tough
that?
situation when you're dealing with something you can't see what you need. You see my concern? And they're like, well, we're not, you know, we've got the bid, that we're not gonna put anything more into this than we have to, and they slap a new roof on top of it that won't stay in place because it's not fastened down. I mean, I'm just thinking out loud here. I don't know, you know, we got reputable companies, but maybe all I'm thought is the bid may be way higher to cover themselves for what's underneath of there than what would.
This has been the struggle that we've had in getting the apples to apples
Right.
comparison, because some I think feel that you can just slap a Band-Aid on it and be done with it, and that's why we're trying to get alternate.
I understand.
And then others have come in and actually done some, taken pieces of the existing roof and said, you got big time problems, and once we cut this off, you're gonna find that what's underneath the membrane has significant problems, and you're gonna need to not only put a new membrane on, you're gonna have to put a whole new subroof on. And
Yeah.
I think that's why it's important that the bid goes out, and so it may be one where you get whoever, I mean, we have 4 different commercial roofing companies that we've been in contact with, and I think all of them have a subject matter expertise in that particular area, so they need to come out, they they need to look at it, if they need to, what would it be, drill into the existing structure to make that determination, then drill into the existing structure to see what.
Is there any access to the, I mean, like, are these big wood trusses or something that support the top layer? Anybody got any idea what's in there? I mean, can you see up in there from anywhere? There's something is bridging that, that's holding that roof up, it's some kind of big truss, I would assume. I don't know anything about it,
I have not looked.
I don't know if there's a crawl space, I don't know, sure there's a crawl space up in there somewhere.
and maybe that, you know, the people that are coming.
I think it's all, if they're like the rest of it, it's kind of all open, so,
I see. So maybe they can see kind of what they're getting into. That's my concern, that, you know, they bid way high just to protect themselves if they
Right.
can't see it, but if there's a way to see the bottom side of that,
To see what's in.
then that should be covered then, okay?
Yeah, I think the difficulty in getting bids to present to this board, which hasn't been done, is exactly what you're saying, and some do extensive research on what they're bidding on, and others may
Okay.
just kind of eyeball it and see what they see from the outside. But to have the bid in place where they have certain parameters is why getting a bid and doing it this way now. And if they want the bid, their bid's going to include that entire scope, so that it's done right. I don't think, my opinion, the county didn't want to get into the business of owning retail buildings here in town. That's unfortunately where things are.
unfortunately, yes.
Just to get the county in a spot where eventually that building can be sold to somebody who wants to own a business, that roof is going to have to be taken care of and addressed. But on the backside, that repair and replacement will be something that can be included as a selling point for that building. Look, this roof was just replaced and it's got whatever the warranty is on it.
Well, if I was buying a downtown building, that'd be huge, because that'd be the first thing I'd be worried about, is a roof.
Yeah.
Sure.
You
So,
know?
unfortunately, it has to be done, but later on down the road, maybe it's a better move for a potential buyer. So I would request that there be similar to the last motion, a motion to allow bids to be solicited for the replacement of the roof from commercial roofing contractors for the roof at the 405, 407 Neosho, previously known as commercial Maribel's.
Total replacement. Correct?
I mean, that's what you want, right?
I think so. Like I said, you got, some of them say nah, some of them say yeah.
Yeah.
And then that would come from the economic development. I talked with Rhonda at the end of last year, and she should have pushed some money into a reserve fund to cover the cost, because we had talked about it, and it's under economic development.
I don't even know what is it?
There was a reserve fund with economic development that we pushed from last year to this year to cover.
So what, economic development loan fund?
It's one of those funds when we were talking about, maybe it was, we encumbered the money because we knew this was gonna be coming. So there should be some funds available, I think. $50,000 or $70,000 or somewhere in that neighborhood that got pushed from last year to this year to cover the roof. We had talked about it at the end of the year, and then I left a note up here to push it over to be covered for this year.
Either way, between the economic development and the economic development loan fund, there's ample money, so.
Okay. We're able to do that.
It probably wasn't reserve, because reserve was something completely different. I'd have to talk with Rhonda, but Gene and I talked.
I found her email.
We'll just take out economic development period.
There was just money that we had talked about encumbering because we had started this process and we had an idea of what the anticipated cost would be. So she had indicated there was a remainder that had been available.
Just give me 1 second here.
Sure.
But wherever you want it to come from, that was just.
We'll take it straight out of economic development. It was their idea anyway.
Okay, we put 164,000 in community improvement reserve from economic development.
Oh, really? Maybe I spoke too quickly.
But, I mean, you could take it out of equipment, or economic development, because, you know, you,
You still have that money
Have
around if you need
We
it.
could use that other money then.
for something else later,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So, economic development fund,
That's fine. With me anyhow.
Because the roof has to be fixed, it can't just be patched.
Right.
'Cause I think-
We'll just have nothing there.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna want.
Because I think the patchwork at one time was going to be roughly 15 to 20,000 with just, and that was just patching.
And then we didn't
Temporary
accomplish
fix,
anything.
And we didn't accomplish anything, so,
We put a Band-Aid,
yeah.
something.
So,
Stick on a page still too.
yeah,
You're right.
right. So motion to approve the request to solicit bids for replacement of the roof by commercial roofing contractors for the roof at 405 through 407 Neosho, previously known as Marie Bells. Funds to come from the Economic Development Fund capital outlay line item. I'll move.
Second.
Been moved by Thompson and seconded by Huguenin. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Apologize for throwing that at you, but I think that's the.
No.
We gotta get moving on
It
that.
needs-
Some of this stuff needs to come off that center anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
No, Larry, thank you.
Maybe.
So, did you have any, we already went by you, Mark, right? You didn't have anything?
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Okay, did you have anything else?
Yeah, I probably would.
Please.
I was hoping, I know Todd needs to be here for what I want to talk about, but I think to lay the groundwork, I need to get it going. A 10-minute executive session, myself and the board, it's attorney-client, and it has to do with the legal issue regarding subordinate board. And I'll leave it at that.
Can you use extra minutes, you wage?
Yeah, that's what I want too, so,
Travel there.
yeah.
Stop in there to get that.
And you said you need 10, right?
10.
Okay, so if we, so, Move to enter into executive session for 10 minutes for attorney-client relationship regarding a legal issue. You're making it
I know,
difficult.
I'm sorry.
You can't keep up with her, can you?
Jumping all over the place.
Okay. Move to enter into executive session for 10 minutes to include each of the county commissioners
And wait.
and the county counselor.
Yep.
For attorney-client relationship regarding a legal issue regarding a subordinate board.
I'll move.
Second.
Been moved by McCurry and seconded by Huguenin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're gonna go in at 11:45.
11:45?
11:35, and we'll return it.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, 11:35.
Like, wow, we got a lot of time. And Tom can confirm what I think was said. On,
I had a note, River City needs more time next week and to move their time, or no? Is all that taken care of now with the bidding going out?
and I told her, I said, I think what they were going to do is bring somebody else in to talk about the concrete.
Oh, yeah.
And so I told Angie, I said, I think that's fixed now because we're going to go out with bid.
True, but we still ought to just have a conversation.
Okay.
Let them know. Let them know what we're doing.
You're right.
So should I just leave River City on at 9:05
We're back in.
or next week?
Next week.
Or were you here for the very first part or no?
Do we want to address or no action taken?
Yeah, no action taken on that
Executive
executive session.
It was discussed, when River City was here about the concrete project, about just having, someone come in, kind of give us,
I'll notify them. I mean, they're on the agenda. I was actually gonna suggest, and I forgot to mention it, that I have them show up weekly, maybe every other week. It seems like at times, especially right now, with everything going on, having them show up, ends up being somewhat of a hardship for them.
Right.
Because they're coming in and we may get one and they'll send me a message last minute, they've got to meet with this person or they have this meeting going on. So every other week, I think they've done a good job of updating you on a weekly basis since the beginning of the project, and I don't think there's any question that they'll give you the most recent and current up-to-date information at that time. And I'll let them know.
Yes, put them on for next week or no, since they were here today?
I'd say no for next week and then have them come back the following week,
Okay.
if you're okay with that.
That's it for you?
One of the delays in my coming back was I had a message from Rhonda in Economic Development. There's an applicant for the Open Economic Development Director position, and just stopped in real quick, and just after a cursory review, the applicant seems to be someone that would merit an interview. So with your permission, would request that that individual be set up for an interview on
24th.
the 24th at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, we're meeting with the hospital too, I believe, on that.
oh, for organization,
Is
all
that
right.
right? Do I got the right date?
So,
I think you're right.
Yeah, 1 PM, Stacy Augustine, I've got.
For the-
so maybe at 11 then.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, late morning.
Just want to get them on the calendar. Would request they be scheduled for next week, but next week is a holiday, and I know that's somewhat of
Just all
a
this
difficult
stuff.
timeline for some, and without knowing Todd's schedule, I think that would probably work best, since Tuesdays
Okay.
are an outlier.
Yeah, hold on. Okay, so what time next week you say now?
The 24th at 11
24th at 11, okay.
for economic development applicant interview.
Okay.
And I'd say to cross off, 40 minutes for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably close to an hour by the time we get down there. Does the interview last in 40 minutes or the interview last in 30?
You guys get to, I think if you go through the application process that you've gone through before, probably 50 minutes is a good timeline.
How many?
50 total to go from here down there.
Okay.
Nothing fuel.
Yeah. That is true.
Takes a lot of water.
So 50 minutes?
50 minutes?
Yep.
Everybody reshuffle it and get there.
I did a good job there with it.
I always do. I try to get it screwed up so you guys aren't to blame for it even gets to any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Sir.
I got the salesman that's been calling me about the trailers, and she's asking for Mr. Thompson. I'm like, you're scaring me, buddy.
That was my dad.
Is that something against Gridley?
Yeah, evidently.
Steve signed?
Oh, I didn't sign.
Neither.
Good grief.
Well,
I
yeah,
signed
we
the
are.
check, but I didn't sign that either.
Some things stick together sometimes, I think.
Yeah, they do. Pretty easy to slip by one of them.
Yeah, it is.
On that, over here. This last stack we picked up one in here.
You're kidding me.
No, it's all right. It'll be all right. They'll figure it out.
Did you hear that, Angie?
What?
They said, they'll figure it out. Might have got some papers from one folder and the other.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Do you know our start?
No.
We can
I
look
meant
at
to
the fund
tell you.
numbers, we can get that figured out.
He only got like one or two in there maybe.
Okay.
Okay. Blame it on Wade?
Yes.
You can blame it on me, 'cause I should have told you.
He said he screwed it
You're
up.
still
before
putting
he
them in
did.
there.
Yeah.
And you're still putting them in there. Now we can blame it on you.
So all these go in here.
Yeah, we used to have this saying, waiting on Wade, talking about the other Wade, so now the new saying would be blame it on the other Wade. Wade with a Y. As I'm referred to next door, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wade with the Y.
Wade with a Y, yeah. Wade 2, isn't that it?
Yeah, Wade number 2 and Wade with the Y.
That was my nickname growing up, was 2.
I see.
My grandmother would yell at me, "Two." One point in time, I lived in my grandparents' house, and my dad lived there as well. And when somebody would call and they'd ask for Wade, it would be a struggle to figure out which Wade you were trying to get a hold of.
Yeah, I'm sure. My older brother shared his first name with my grandfather, and then my dad kind of thought that Craig, my oldest, should have been named after him, but after watching my brother's struggles, I said, no, I wouldn't do that. That is, if Floyd is his middle name, no, but he agreed then, grumpily. I think he deserves his own name, but everybody's got their own way of doing things.
They do.
And lots of people use an alternate name or something anyhow, so, you know.
I know I should have named my dog different. I just been calling her damn it.
Answer to that?
She kinda does anymore. Good grief, I've never had a bird dog so high strung. I mean, I know they're high strung, but this thing is like,
On steroids, huh?
oh man, about to kill me. The Munsterlander, the German breed. Picked her up in Minnesota. Her versatile hunting dog. She's actually one of the best bird dogs I've had. But you gotta have a shock collar on her. It's not.
To bring her back in?
But it's just, you can't. You gotta drop her out 2 miles ahead before you can get your bird in the spot. Trying to wear her down.
Get a little steam off of her, huh?
And I taught her to not just, when you open the door, you don't just jet out of it or whatever like that. She's back to doing that again on me. That knocked me over yesterday. I'll tell you what, she's a heck of a mouser.
Well, I guess if nobody has anything, we'll adjourn at 12 o'clock.
Very good.
Until next Tuesday, right?
That's good.